Good afternoon, all. I welcome you to the second session of the day. It is an honor for us to have Dr. S. Atithan with us. Sir is professor and head department of aquaculture. And the topic chosen for deliberation is livelihood option to augment income for coastal fisher folk through small scale enterprises. Sir, you can start. The session has been recorded. Please start, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, can you turn on your camera and start presenting, sir?
Okay, you want to start the camera? Okay, okay, no problem. 1 minute. Is it the slides are visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I thank the organizers for this event, NTC 2021, for giving me an opportunity to share this topic to the participants. So my topic is lively good options to augment income for coastal fisher folk through small scale enterprises. And my mobile number and the email address are there. I'll be also communicating later on. So very good afternoon to everybody. Uh, yes, behavior of the participants in attending this training. Uh, during before starting the session, I think there's very curiosity in knowing not only my today's topic, yesterday topic, day after tomorrow topic like that. And during the session is going on, maybe a half an hour after taking the session, the participant they are very humble. They are reacting this boss. Then after the session was over, right, and participant will react like this. That's all. Oh my God, like that. Right? Before moving, I want to share, I think, information or knowing about the COVID-19 and all. Just 5 minutes, I will be there. Sharing. Those who are already knows, please ignore. Right? Please, my humble request. I think this is the usual pattern our college students normally used to do while attending our online classes. I think for this seminar, sorry, conference, I think people, the participants are also attending in that manner. No issue at all. You can attend any sitting position, and our main aim is to accomplish today's task, to learn today's topic like that. So that is success of today's presentation, right? Okay. And stay home, be safe, keep social distancing, stay positive, and stay happy. And people are knowing the wearing of mask uh, to our side and the opponent side, right? And regarding prevent the corona break chain, I think people are knowing 6 feet distance between the person, wearing mask and outside, frequent hand washing, avoid meeting the publics, and avoid going to the outside by less than 10 aged people and more than 60 aged people. And reasons for fast spreading of corona, people are highlighting these three reasons. Office staffs, I think we are taking very lightly. Friends, among our friends, we are taking very lightly. Even including relatives, we are taking very lightly. So when we are talking to them, I think we are thinking that no need to wear mask. That's why it spread fast. The reason given by thing and steam inhalation, I think people are knowing to routine habits you have to make, like the doctors are telling. Till corona, right? And office going people 3 times a day. And grocery purchase and other purchase, if you are going outside, other than unlocked down period, then 2 times. And staying in homes during this lockdown period, at least one time we can take. Corona drug powder, I think they have released and they experimented. They have also tested good recovery for mild cases and severe cases. The important plus point is no need of oxygen demand, like that they are telling, right? Already been it is given. The nasal vaccine also about to come. They have tested everything. It's a needle-free, painless, and this international vaccine prevents infection and spread. Yes. Then MyLab Discovery Solution, they evolved the COVID Self. It's a self-test kit. I think people are knowing, and it is really a good one for thing. We not depend upon the medical people, right, or other workers people to test everything. Within 50 minutes, you can get the results. Though it shows negative, if anybody infection symptoms are there, then you can go for RT-PCR, like that they are telling. Then well ventilated rooms actually we need to follow. That will greatly reduce the spread of COVID-19. Yes, in office room, even if you have exhaust fan and all, we can fit it so that the circulation of both side in and outside will be good. Then chances for third wave, they are predicting, we don't know, to speed up the vaccination process. So that I think otherwise next to 6-8 months chances are like that. The WHO and other things are people are telling. So to conclude this general information, I read from WhatsApp only. Yeah, a poetry line about COVID-19 reaching Everest. Yes, people are knowing. My dearest, nearest, east or west, home is the best. Take some more rest. Don't call any guest. Enjoy your home first. Don't have an outgoing zest. And this is our life-saving test. So let us be in our nest. And an humble request from our side and government side. Yes, it is going on Everest like that, right? Moving to my topic. Yes, alternative livelihood options to augment income for coastal fisher folk through small scale enterprises. If you look the recent data published by WHO 2018 data, it is the production increased steadily, and the world fish production about the capture constitute 54 and the culture constitute 46, and the world capture I think inland constitute 12% only, and marine contribute more, that is 87.55. And the world aquaculture inland, just opposite to world capture, that is inland contribute more 62.5 and marine contribute 37.5. And per capita fish consumption, I think 56.16 gram per person per day. And the human consumption, out of which I think 87.62% we are diverting for human consumption, and the remaining 12.32 used for non-food uses. So these data and all, I think, justify what? Yes, definitely countries' economies and livelihood security. Livelihood options, I think there are two major ones. That is primary and secondary options. Primary, I think people are knowing fishing activities, especially, right? Since time immemorial, for occupants of coastal belt in India, it is an alternate livelihood to overfishing and proposed for more than 2 decades. And the coastal aquaculture and mariculture offers best and secondary livelihood options, especially in coastal areas. And there are two reasons to focus towards development of mariculture and coastal aquaculture as remunerative alternative occupations. The first reason, dwindling catch rates in capture fisheries, and second one is rampant unemployment in coastal region. Many mariculture technologies are available for open or offshore or close or inshore like that. So it's very simple, eco-friendly, free from pollution, and use only locally available infrastructure facilities for construction of farm or construction of feed mill and hatcheries like that. And hence the entire farming practices by traditional fishermen. We have potentially aquatic species for mariculture in India, and potentially, I think finfishes constitute 20 species, crustacean constitute 29 species, and molluscan constitute 17 species, and seaweed contribute 7 species, our own indigenous. Exotic and also is there. Then ornamental and the therapeutic value of many other species. Existing, what are the existing marine technologies available? I think we have a lot. Shrimp farming by peripateton based, including peripateton based and bioflok based thing. Then lobster fattening, crab fattening and farming, edible oyster farming, mussel farming, pearl oyster farming, then clam farming, abalone farming, marine fin fish culture. We have a lot of indigenous species like that. Then marine ornamental fish culture and hatchery production, seaweed farming, then Artemis assist and biomass production, then on-farm feed preparation. So these are all existing mariculture technologies. But for today's class, we will be concentrating, restricting to the livelihood option for small scale enterprises. So these are all things we are going to see in detail. Lobster fattening, crab fattening, mussel farming, seaweed farming, pearl spot cage farming, marine ornamental fish rearing in Hapa, then Artemia cyst and biomass production. In other ways, integration of Artemia in salt pan, then on-farm feed, that is farm-made fish feed preparation. Let's go with the first one, lobster fattening. Then people are knowing, they must know the difference between the word farming and fattening. Farming nothing but juveniles grown for several months until attain marketable size. But in the case of fattening, it's a short duration culture, yes, of undersized lobsters to specific acceptable size and command better price. So now you can see the image before, that is undersized lobsters. Then it is grown to shorter period, that is called export grade. And these are all two main species we are using for our fattening purpose. Panulurus homarus. Then second one is Panulurus ornatus. Another species are there, Panulurus polyphagus. That is mainly less saline tolerance field. That is around 25 ppb will survive. So if you take the lobster capture fisheries in India, I think we are getting 20% only 20 gram size lobsters, and the remaining 80% I think are getting less than 100 gram size. So these 100 gram, less than 100 gram size lobsters can be very well utilized for fattening purpose. And in India, I think we have one policy, marine policy, fishing policy. There won't be any regulation in the fishing of lobsters, because if you are getting less than 100 gram size lobsters, you cannot export. So that is banned. So those who are having are getting a less than 100 gram size lobsters can be very well utilized for the. So here for our understanding, the grade export grade are more than 20 gram, it is one grade, and grade 2, 100 to 119 gram, and the third grade is less than 100 gram. That is used to call, the third one is undersized lobsters. What are the fattening methods available? Yes, we have three major subdivisions. The ponds and tanks we will be using, and sea pens are also being used, and cages that to restrict to floating, and the sinking one, that is submersible cages. And what we are seeing is tank-based systems. People can be used for fattening of lobsters. This is another system available. Then in open sea, I think you can erect this type of sinking cages. Then you can do. This is floating cages. I think it is erected near Mandapam, coast of Tamil Nadu. And this is FRB floating cages. And this is the bottom sinking cages, that is iron frame cages. Yes, now what you can see, there are two. The back one is floating one, that is FRP. The front one is sinking one, right? Erected at the pond bottom, sorry, sea bottom. So if you are following these type of method, that is system available, I think economics we have worked out. And in the case of FRB cages, it comes around, the cost of protection comes around 507 rupees. and the net profit it comes 573, that is 50-50. So the selling, if you consider the selling price of 1000 rupees per kg, then we will be getting 50% net profit and 50% goes for cost of production. Similarly, we have also worked out and in iron frame cages for our coastal region of Tarvik in Tamil Nadu. And here also, I think it comes around cost of production, I think 834 because of the escalated cost of recurring cost, right? But anyway, it comes around 250 rupees per kg of lobsters. We have also published, we have recorded several success stories from our coastal line. And Mr. T. Francis from Tarvekulam Coast, he has used 1 into 1 into 1 meter cages. Cost of the cage is 16,000. He reared for 90 days and he got at the time the net profit of 514 rupees per kg. Then by CM4 also, they brought one success story. Mr. Eugene from Kanyakumari, they used 6 meter diop cages. It is a floating one and they get net revenue of 1,40,000 rupees like that. We have also given opportunity to our coastal village people near to our college through adopted at Tarvekulam of Thoothukudi Coast, Tamil Nadu. So we have got one project under revolving fund project called Iron Frame Cage Culture Practice for Lobster Fattening in Open Sea under Institution Progressive Farmer Tie-up Method. Yes, we are engaged two farmers. So we are given we are given amount to them. So they'll be doing the actual fattening purposes and buyback we will be doing. So this is the iron frame cage they tested. They utilized for their fattening purpose. And they have used the species Panulus homarus species. They obtained these undersized lobsters from Kanyakumari region and they are transported through a truck containing a FRB tank 300 liters containing seawater with continuous aeration. And this is the actual shape of iron frame cage. The size is 8 feet into 8 feet. And particularly before starting, the all juveniles conditioned for 2 days, and the stock intensity we have used 900 numbers per cage, and the feeding rate I think at the rate of 5% of the total body weight of the lobsters. And they are fed with live clamps, particularly the Donax species available by hand twice a day, right? And the feed intake checked daily. These are the management practices, and uneaten clams along with the shells were removed manually once in a week. And the fattening they have carried out for a period of 240 days. 240 days. 240 days. So now I think these are the images pertaining to that success story of our college. And this is the table will give you the average of growth parameters. Yes, we recorded average daily growth of 0.46 gram per day for lobsters, like that. And we have worked out the cost of production and net profit around 200 rupees. And because of the escalation cost in all recurring expenditure and all, but anyway, it is a suited one. And we have run the project for about 4 years period continuously, and this is the year-wise repayment made by the progressive farmers. So we will be giving the amount, and they will be doing the fattening practices and returning the amount. And the net profit we will be sharing with the farmers and the institute, our institute. We will move now. We are moving to the second category, crab fattening, similar to lobster fattening. Here, crab fattening, the second one, and normally we are using for the species is mud crab, Scilla serrata. Otherwise, it is called red crab or mangrove crab. And this is the image, differentiate male and female. This is a male, and this is the female crab. And as usual for lobsters, we have fattening methods. We are dividing into 2 subdivisions. Indoor cement tanks, that's the first one, and second one is ponds, under which we are going to do with direct stocking methods, and second one is bamboo or wooden boxes method, and third one is cages. Under cages also we have made of material called bamboo, fiberglass reinforced plastics, polyvinyl chloride PVC, like that. Then the traditional method called crabs tied in bamboo poles, like that. So this is the cement system used for fattening of mud crab in indoor level. And this is the fattening of fattening in ponds by direct stocking ponds. Yes, pond bottom may be sandy, and the top with and the harvest can be done 9 to 10 times per year. On average, 8 crops you can take, and the expected mortality is around less than 28%. And this is another pen like structures can be used erected in the pond environment, can be used for fattening of crab. And this is the pen structure being erected in open waters and even in mangrove bordered areas. And this is image showing the method of practice in the bamboo or wooden boxes in ponds. And this is the traditional one using hard polythene basket cages used for individual fattening of crabs. Individually, the species are putting inside and people are fattening. So what are the cages of types used in pond? I think submerged and floating, as in the case of your lobster fattening. Here also we'll be using submerged one and floating one. The sizes are varying depending upon the cages and all. This is one type of cages. So here the maximum of 9 pieces can be put individually, made of bamboo, right? And this is another. This is PVC made cages. This is FRB made cages. And I told the traditional one, bamboo poles or swamp. In swamp area, the people are tied in that particular environment. So mostly, I think people are using the Donax clam as live feed, and apart from that, other trash fishes people are using, particularly the waste obtained from squid waste and cuttlefish waste. People are using as a trash fish as feed. So here we have also worked out, and it says the cost of production comes around 156 rupees, and the net profit around 143 rupees, considering the selling price of rupees 300 per kg. So this is the economics worked out under pond condition, and the another economics under crab fattening in boxes. So it is also encouraging. It comes around the cost of around 144 rupees, and the net profit per kg is around 156 rupees, considering the selling price of rupees 300 per kg. And CIBA, Central Institute of Brackish Water Aquaculture, they also evolved the 3-tier modular farming system, multi-phased culture system for mud crabs. So here the hatchery produced juveniles to marketable size. It takes long period, normally 10 to 12 months it took. So long DOC hinders the production efficiency and the survival rate and increase the diseases chances and all. To overcome these issues, yes, the 3-tier farming system they evolved, comprising 3 phases: 3 months nursery phases, 4 months mid-growth phases, and 3 months final growth phases, like that. And we also recorded a success story from our coastal line. We have area factory, chemical factory called Darangadara Chemical Works, DCW. There, the people are using wide areas, nearly about 50 acres, used for pumping water from sea. So those areas, people are using it for fattening of crabs by these local people. And another MPDA also successfully, a lot of success stories have been brought, and one or two I am just putting. So in the case of Maharashtra state, I think they have evolved with all these things, and I think it is a fruitful one. Now we are moving to the third one, seaweed farming. Quite useful one. I think we have a lot of methods, 5 common methods normally used: bottom farming, broadcast method, then tie-tie technique, that is TT technique, then tie-tie technique, another one is called monolining, and the last one is nowadays people are now propagating this technique, tubular net method, TN method. So we are using bamboo raft and monoline method. So in the case of seaweed potential markets, right, Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar all along the Tamil Nadu coast abundant in seaweeds, particularly the Gulf of Mannar. We have got our own indigenous seaweeds like Gracilaria, Gilidella, Sargassum, Turbinaria, Hypnea, and in Park Bay, people are instead of cultivating our species, rather they are collecting from wild our native species. And on the opposite side, people are cultivating Pepsi palsy, that is Cappapicus alvarezi. So people are making their own bamboo raft or monolining method for cultivating this type of seaweeds. Even if you see the ranking, I think Pepsi palsy ranks first. Then these are all flow line path of seaweed farming, seeding the young seaweed, seeding, then growth phase, then third one is harvesting, and the fourth one is processing of these seaweeds. Raft method quite commonly used for farming seaweeds, and the economics has also been worked out. And the net profit, I think, when you are giving using 45 bamboo raft can be managed by one self-help group. Like that, we have people have calculated, and considering the 45 days duration per raft, and considering other capital costs and other recurring costs, the net profit comes around 1,50,000 rupees, deducting all expenditure and all. So in the case of long line method, is monolining method. This is also being popularly being used in Park Bay area, under which here also it comes around the net profit 90,000 rupees per year. If you want, you can work out per month also. Here also people are using comprising 20 members, self-help group like that. And they are using 10 lines, and each line it cost about 5,000 rupees per line. And one line here, the length will be 104 meters, 104 meters. Just imagine how many length people are using, managed by these 20 group people. So here also, I think it quite encouraging results, and the net profit is good. We have also recorded a success story earlier from our local farmers. So I think they also recorded a good one. They recorded 75,000 rupees per year instead of 90,000, the general one, right? By using bamboo raft. During 2016 also, Tamil Nadu government launched seaweed farming Thoothukudi and Ramanathapuram areas and all. And our including Ramanad and other coastal district of Tamil Nadu, under the technical support of our university. And we are moving to the fourth, the technology available, the pearl spot, cage farming, and seed production. Yes, the scientific name is Etroplus suratensis. In Kerala side and all, if you go, I think people are serving in this manner, mandatory. I think this fish will play a major role in your plate. Why cage culture we are preferring instead of going for pond farming? Cage culture, I think pond culture not recommended because in pond even it's spawn at 110 gram size. So broodstock development through cages can be, and cage culture offer good potential for monoculture practices, and even you can combine with polyculture practices. And these are the thing evolved by ASEAN for earlier round cages, and it measures the dimension around 2-meter dia, and the volume is around 7.85 meter cube, and they stocked 1,000 numbers, and they used the feed a total of 150 cages for 6 months, and they got 200 cages of this one pearl spot. And the total expenditure 10,000 only, gross income 30,000, and the net income 20,000. This is per crop. And for pole spot seed production also, CM4 has already been worked out, the economics and all. Area for broodstock rearing, I think they are taking this area, that is for calculation point of 0.265 hectares. So here these are all assumption, larvae, then juveniles, area, how much they are stocking. So total revenue, I think at the rate of 150 rupees per kg, I think 51.3 million seeds you can produce. So out of which the production also you can expect in cages, 200 gram average body weight you can get. And the total tonnage of 342 tonnage per year. Moving to the fifth one, mussel farming. And as usual, here we are using two species in our coast, restrict to southeast and southwest. Perna indica brown mussel and Perna viridis green mussel. And these are various culture method available, three major methods: deep water culture, intertidal and shallow water culture method, and the third one is bottom culture. And these are the steps in mussel culture. That is, seeding is a major part of work. Then maintenance of this seeded material. That is the major thing you have to take into account for this culture. And the culture period is around 4 to 6 months, and harvest afterwards. Then depuration is a must for this because this is a filter feeding organisms. Yes, the young ones of mussel is called spat. Yes, this will be taken and they will put it in muslin cloth and it will be tied manually, right, like this, and they will be tying in a open sea, shallow region. So here also the growth and production, if you take the seeded mussels grow to 36 gram in a period of 5 months, and each rope and yield 5.1 to 12.3 kg per meter. And 100 ropes, it will give, there is 6 meter length in draft, that is 8 into 8 meter. That will give 4,800 kg of mussel per raft at the rate of 8 kg per meter of each rope. Moving to the another technology, that is marine ornamental fish rearing in hoppas. Instead of rearing in your indoor system, this is far better and it will give a lot of advantages. Regarding site selection, at least 2-meter depth of water should be there in our coastal line, and there should be a good DO content, dissolved oxygen content, and your area must be free from industrial contaminants and low anthropogenic pollution and easy accessibility from land. And it should be protected area normally you have to prefer. And the size of that hopper, floating hopper, is around 2.5 meter length, 1.5 meter breadth, and 1.5 meter height. And that will be fixed with the PVC frames. The diameter is around 1.5 inches. Top of the hopper is also covered with net frame, and double layered net will be there. And the two opposite corners of the top cover of the hopper made detachable, mainly to enable regular feeding, growth monitoring, and the subsequent harvesting work. And it provides better water exchange and creating natural environment. Hopper can be moved properly at suitable site. Fouling was regular phenomena. I told cleaning of these nets very frequently needs to be done. Regular monitoring is also advisable. And cleaning the net with the coir brush has to be carried out on daily basis. Otherwise, clocking of that nets will be possible. And this is the actual dimension of this one, 2.5 into 1.5 into 1.5 meter dimension. This is already been evaluated, standardized by CM4A. This is the installation of hopper in the open sea, and their stock numbers, and they fed with different wet feeds: boiled sardine flesh, chopped clam meat, mussel meat, then formulated dry feed, and 2 times a day they fed at ad libitum level. And the survival rate, they recorded around 90 to 98%. 90 to 90%. And hopper-reared marine ornamental juveniles, yes, grow faster than indoor level, and increased survival rate you can get than comparing your indoor rearing. And another third plus point, good coloration you can expect, you can get. Yes, and the fourth one, you can get better price in the market. And the seventh one, integration of Artemia in salt pans. This is another quite interesting one. And Artemia integration in salt pan, we have three major advantages. The first advantage is to enhance the salt protection by changing the color of the salt pan. In this way, I think evaporation will increase and your salt protection is in that manner. How it is being done? In conventional system, there is impurities present. But in the case of when we are integrating the Artemia, yes, Artemia, the waste being utilized for the bacteria called halobacterium. So that will enhance, grow faster. That's why we are getting red coloration. Or otherwise, earlier and all people are using the artificial dyes. That will be very expensive. And the cost of, if you calculate the cost, and it will be not working out to that one. So that's why people are integrating the Artemia in the particular salt pan in order to develop the red coloration to enhance the evaporation rate. The second advantage is to produce shrimps that feed on Artemia. And the third advantage is to produce Artemia cyst in the same system. Because if favorable condition comes, you will be getting Artemia biomass. If unfavorable conditions are experiencing in your salt pan, then you will get the cyst production. If you take this table, I think nearly 58% of the salt pan available, we are utilizing it fully, and the remaining 42 percentage around remain unutilized. Unutilized. And regarding the largest salt production areas in India, I think two major states, Gujarat followed by Tamil Nadu. And we have 12,000 salt producers all along the Indian coast, both east and west. Profitability of seasonal salt farms improved by integrating Artemia with the solar salt. And we will be getting the production per hectare. There is 180 to 200 kg of wet weight basis cyst, or if you want to convert into dry weight, 18 to 20 kg dry weight, and biomass production about 300 to 500 kg wet weight, provided we have to modify the existing salt pan in terms of pond modification and other good biological managements. And we have salt works involved in integrated Artemia. There are five major factories, companies are involving in this work. Tata Chemicals, Balarpur Industries, Dolphin Aqua Salt Tuticorin, DCW Sagupuram, Tamil Nadu, then NI Salt Works at Puttalam, Tamil Nadu. Why salt workers are preferring integration of Artemia in their salt pan? There are several reasons. Salt quality very poor when you are not integrating, and the toxic chemicals in seawater is more. That is more heavy metals like lead, copper, etc. Then organic materials are very high, and the income very low because of the monosalt farming. Here we will be getting Artemia biomass along with the cyst in addition to salt production. So awareness came only after 1992, integrating the Artemia with salt pan. And these are the images showing three phases involved in salt production normally. So these existing salt pan can be modified, in the sense depth can be increased, so that you can divert for integrating or mixing or polyculture of your Artemia with salt. So DCW Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu coast, I think they have wider area, and they have worked out the economics from 7 acres area. I think they spend the non-recurring costs around 1 lakh, and the variable cost is around 2,74,000, and the total project cost for 7 acres will be around 3,75,000 rupees. They also worked out, and cyst production out of the 7, I think they have 1 year. I think out of 1 year, the rainy season will be 4 months in this coast. So 8 months they'll be diverting for production of Artemia biomass and cyst production, and the remaining 8 months they are diverting. Harvest can be done once in 3 days. That means 80 times in 8 months period can be harvested, and we will be getting 120 million of Artemia biomass. That is 1 kg of dry weight basis per hectare per day, and 40 million biomass, 300 gram dry weight cyst basis per acre per day, like that they worked out. And from 7.5 acres, right, they recorded 260 millions, right, out of 6.5 acres of water spread area. So they got 2 kg dry weight cyst per harvest. And 80 days, if you work it out, it comes 160 kg dry weight cyst from 7.5 acres or 3 hectares or 6.5 acres of water spread area. So income, I think they got around 4 lakhs. That is 1.25 lakhs, subtracting from 4 lakhs with the actual cost involved. That is 2,75,000. In other countries, South Asian countries, particularly Vietnam, Thailand, people are using it as an excellent food as for human being in different forms, because of the Artemia contain more of protein content. That is 60 to 80% of protein. So salt production, if you take, I think I told the unutilized area nearly about 49.6%, and the salt producer encouraged to take up Artemia biomass and cyst in unutilized area to meet out the entire requirement. Yes, is there any problem?
So please continue, sir.
Yes. Salt producers encouraged to take up Artemia biomass and cyst in unutilized areas to meet out the entire requirement in hatchery. Though the potential and good extra incomes are coming, there are some hurdles facing. The first one, additional investment. Then second one is institute industry integration. Then establishing units for cyst processing, and establishing unit for fast freezing Artemia biomass, and transfer of technology by effective extension programs, and that will trigger the activity in India and alternate livelihood to shrimp farming practices. And moving to the last technology, farm-made fish feed preparation. Yes, first thing, farmers has to decide whether they are preferring their own making feed or they want to buy, then they are going to offer to the fish. So they have to decide. So if they are going to decide for commercial based aquaculture or feed preparation, then they need not depend on this one. This will not work out because it will costly. If you go with the farm-made fish feed, then the cost of production will be very less for each farming practices, and it is viable one. New and Savas earlier they given the data that is in Asia 10% of the fish production people are using commercial feed, and remaining 90% fish production from farm-based feed, and out of which 80% will be constituting the freshwater and non-predator fishes. If the farmers has decided to prepare the farm-made fish feed for their farm, then they have to consider the following points. Yes, market price of a fish has to consider, and the capital investment has to consider, traditional farm techniques available, then period of fish culture, then availability of labor, then ingredient availability and its rate, then feeding habits of a fish, then fish feeding behavior and nutrient requirements, and finally the water quality. Uses. What are the uses of farm-made fish feed? Effectively, you can utilize whatever the locally available all type of ingredients available. So that is one chance we'll be getting, so that the cost of production for producing 1 kg of fish feed is greatly reduced, nearly 25 to 30%. And the reduction cost, I told, it is meant for, I think it is good one for small scale level, not for large scale level. And the best one if no feed mill available nearby for that farm. Otherwise, what will do, people will prefer commercial feed they offer. So this is another third thing we will be considering. Requirements for if you want to prepare in your farm side itself, these things we have to purchase in a mini way. Simple balance to weigh your ingredients, grinding machine, simple grinding machine will do. Then ingredient mixture you can purchase, small one. Then pellet machine, we have little rate capacity, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs like that, it is available both for sinking feed as well as floating feed. And sieve, then steamer, any steamer you can, ordinary cooker can also be used. Then small cooker, then drying machineries. We are giving a list, but you can dry it in sunlight, no problem. And we need ultimately the final one is airtight containers to store your feeds, at least for 1 month to 2 months storage level. On any case, the feed should not be stored for more than 2 months. Otherwise, what will happen? The oxidation of liquids will be happening upon storage of after 2 months. So to avoid that one, even if you are preparing the feed in a hygienic manner, in a pakka manner, it will be oxidized after 2 months. So if you are going to use your own feed, or if you are going to purchase commercial feed, and see that you can store it for maximum 2 months to 3 months. Summary and conclusion for today's my lecture. I think 3.9 million hectares are estimated, out of which 1.2 million hectares potentially cultivable area identified, and out of which currently we are using only 15%, that is 0.1 million hectares area. So available technologies popularized by effective extension programs such as participatory demonstration programs, particularly the TOT. Yes, transfer technology depends on 3 systems. The first one, knowledge generating system, KGS, knowledge disseminating system, KDS, and knowledge consuming system, KCS. So all Central Institute and State Agricultural University people are transferring these technologies to the needy people, coastal folk. And the initiation and the expansion of these small-scale coastal aquaculture and mariculture practices lead to increased production and augment income generation of coastal fisher folk in the country. And this is for just information. In our university, I think we have vernacular Tamil language magazine, local vernacular Tamil magazine. If anybody interested, they can subscribe, they can contact me. They have to subscribe annual or life membership like that. And our college is also offering a series of training program, 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, skilled based training program like that. And these are all various titles we are giving: fish feed preparations, phaeona cultivation, liquid seaweed fertilizer, quality control of aqua feed, artemia biomass synthesis production, fish food organisms, seaweed farming, like that. Various titles related to both inland and coastal side we will be giving. And we are also offering skill development based courses and self-employment courses on shrimp farming and seaweed production, like we are offering. And with that, I think I am completing. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have completed. I think I took a correct time. I think within
Yes, sir. Thank
before
you
10 minutes, because my aim is to finish should not exceed 1 hour.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It would give us some time for the
Yes.
participants to ask if any
Yes,
they have any
that's why
queries.
I have completed before 10 minutes, sir. Before 10 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Participants, if there are any queries, please ask right now. We have
Yes.
our resource person available with us. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Myself, hello.
Yes, sir. I am
Hello.
hearing, sir. Tell me, sir.
So myself, Dr. Shonjip Shah, very nice. I think it is, your present is very nice, and I have
Okay.
some doubt that
Okay.
as you said that the crab seeds normally, not for crab fattening, the normally
Hmm.
crab seeds are collected from the wild. So
Okay.
in particular case, the why we reduce, how we reduce the
Hmm.
infection of such crab seeds due to the environmental pollution. Normally, the fattening process for the collection, so they are collecting from the wild. So there are some
Uh,
different environmental pollution. So how you can
okay.
reduce, why you reduce the
Uh,
this such type of pathogenic infection or heavy metal
uh,
infection, other kind of infection that can
uh,
may more
yes,
increase
yes,
the far more infection
yes,
and
sir, yes, sir.
maybe infection through
Yes.
the different farm also.
Now, what you are telling is correct, sir. We are depending upon wild collection, most of the cases, no doubt. But the institute, like that is organization like RGCA, I think people are supplying the hatchery produced crablets for this one. But this will be the demand basis only. But anyway, for any farming practices, even for lobster fattening also, if you are transport from other places, we have to follow the technique called conditioning. So we have to put in separate cages or something like that, put in all batches, rearing for 2 days, 3 days, observe it, and then you can segregate, sir. This is the one option we can do, sir. We can do.
There is any identification, any kind of experiment that can easily separate the infected crab for normal farmer or normal normal
Yes, right now
man?
it is there, sir, because normally what we have recording that is diseases and other thing, it is available. So if you give a mail, I will be sending, sir, through mail.
Oh,
No
thank you,
problem.
sir. Very okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, fish meal is supposed to be one of the major ingredient, one of the very
Yes.
preferred ingredient in fish feed. So
Okay.
when you talk of farm-made feed, fish
Uh,
meal is difficult to procure from
yes,
crab
sir.
area.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So it's substitute silage and all. Fish silage can be prepared by like
Uh,
anybody.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fuselage can be replaced, sir. Because a lot of studies have been conducted in order to reduce the cost of fish meal. Because fish meal is the major input cost in fish feed preparation. I think we can do, sir. A lot of studies have been conducted. You want to know the composition for utilizing fuselage?
Composition.
If you want, I can give that composition, sir. No problem.
Okay,
Through
okay.
mail.
No, but how it is not getting popularized? Everybody
Uh,
can prepare it.
yes, that's why you used to tell TOT, that is transfer of technology, anything, any
Yeah.
technology, not only fishery side, agriculture and all very popular. The TOT will play a major role in that's why we are realizing now green revolution. But in the case of fishery side, I think TOT will play a major role. Still, we have to bring these knowledges to the needy people, sir, needy people.
Okay, okay. One more
So
question is,
good
sir,
evening, sir.
with the
Yes,
integration of Artemia with salt production,
yes.
is the salt quality, is it increasing, the heavy metal and whatever you told, is it
Yes, yes, sir.
getting some like improvement?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is proved by several several studies. Because whatever the waste excreted by the Artemia will be
Okay.
taken by the halobacterium group of bacteria. That is salt resistant bacteria. So that will
Hmm.
enhance the red coloration. So that's why we are getting more evaporation rate in salt pan, in salt pan.
I didn't get this is how like Artemia is helping.
No. Artemia will not taking. Artemia will be utilizing those water condition and utilizing it. utilizing it, sir.
Okay. It's not symbiotic. It is like it's
It's
extra
not.
crop.
No, it's not. It's actually existing salt pan. Can
It's
be
extra
injected. Yes,
production.
yes. Additional earlier and all monosalt forming it is there. Now we
Uh,
are going for integration. That's all. We are adding the
no,
Artemia double role, double income like that.
that's right. Actually, you pointed out that heavy metal pollution and all these things. No? So I thought how Artemia is helping those things to reduce.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
actually.
no, no. It's not in that symbiotic relationship. What you are asking is correct, sir. Correct. Okay. Some people are
Sir, there are
asking.
few questions in the chat.
Yes, and chart also. Yes, sorry, sir. Sorry, I forgot. Farm-made feeds will have higher FCR than commercial feed. What's your view on this? So high FCR. See here, one point we have to consider whether it is farm-made feed or commercial feed. The feed management, if you are following it correctly, we can reduce the FCR. And he's having his own doubt. Farm-made feed having a lesser quality like that. No, whatever the procedure available that we are going to follow in a systematic manner without affecting any quality of the feed. So feed management will take a thing, sir. Then another person is asked, is there any national policy on seaweed cultivation? Very good question he has asked, sir. Yes, there is a restriction, particularly in Tamil Nadu. There are two areas, Gulf of Mannar and Park Bay. In Gulf of Mannar, I think the native species being cultivated and they will be collected, and no exotic varieties are being allowed. But in the case of Park Bay, our government is allowing the Kappa picus alvarezi, the exotic species. The another major seaweed cultivation from Gujarat coast. Gujarat. These are the two coastal region dominating seaweed production from Indian share to the world production side. Then I think two questions I have answered, sir. I think no more in chart. And
There is a question at the top.
Oh yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Polyculture and composite culture.
Yes. 1 minute. I scrolled from bottom. Okay. Difference between polyculture and composite culture. Polyculture is the general term where you can include composite culture like that. Or if you are integrating more than one species, that is 2 species, 3 species, it is called as polyculture only. For example, composite culture we will be referring to carp side. Polyculture means need not be belonging to the same category. For example, in composite culture, we will be using the same species of carps, that is exotic and Indian major carp we are using. But in the case of polyculture, we are using finfishes, then along with shellfishes like that we are integrating. That makes the difference between polyculture. But generally, polyculture is mixing more than one species. That's the meaning. And second question, 1 minute. Yes, farm-made feed. I think I have answered that one. I think I have answered, sir. Yes.
Are there any further questions? I think, sir, we have gone exactly to the allocated slot of our time.
Correct. Yes,
and
yes.
that is very precise. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
29. Thank you very much, sir, on behalf of the participants and on behalf of the organizing committee. We express our gratitude to you, sir, for being with us and sharing a lovely presentation with us, and also the interaction with the participants.
Then one more thing, sir. As your coordinator asked me through mail, you are going to publish this souvenir as souvenir, I think. So I'll be sending the entire article in Word file, sir. for your inclusion so that you can communicate.
If
to
you
all
can send the PPT, I can convert it to PDF and
Ah,
I'll upload it as a part of PDF.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.